Captain Reed walked alone through the broken streets of the alien city. Dust floated in the air like slow snow, and the wind carried the smell of burnt metal. The place looked dead. Houses were open like broken shells. Towers had collapsed and lay across the road. There was no sound of life, no voices, no animals, nothing. Only silence. Reed was not afraid, but he was alert. His hand rested on the side of his blaster gun as he moved. The light from his helmet cut through the darkness. He had come here after hearing a weak distress signal. Now he searched for any sign of survivors. He hoped he was not too late. As he walked deeper into the ruins, he kept seeing strange marks on the walls. Long, sharp claw lines. Burn marks that looked fresh. Something dangerous had been here, something powerful. Reed moved slowly, trying not to make noise. Then he heard it. A tiny sound. Soft, weak, like a cry. Reed froze. He turned his head, listening. The sound came again, a small broken sob, like someone crying into their hands. It drifted through the narrow alley beside him. Reed moved toward it. Step by step, quiet, focused, the cry grew louder. Sad, empty. It sounded like pain mixed with fear. Reed felt pressure in his chest. Someone was alive. Someone needed help. He stepped around a broken metal door and looked inside a large, half-destroyed building. Something moved in the shadows. Reed lifted his helmet light. The beam touched two small bodies, curled up between fallen stones and scraps of metal. The older one, maybe 12 years old, was holding a smaller girl in her arms. Their skin was pale blue, their hair dark and tangled. They looked weak, thin, starving. The older girl's eyes widened when she saw Reed. She struggled to stand, but her legs shook. She almost fell, but she forced herself to stay up. She pulled her little sister closer, as if she wanted to shield her from him. Reed raised his hand slowly to show he meant no harm. "It's okay," he said softly. "I'm not here to hurt you." But the girl did something Reed never expected. She dropped to her knees. Her body trembled. Tears ran down her gray-blue cheeks. She pressed her forehead to the ground and lifted her hands. Her voice cracked as she spoke. Please, please feed my sister," she whispered. "She will die soon. She has not eaten for days." Her words were broken, scared, heavy with despair. Reed felt his heart tighten. He had seen many things in his life, but this hit him like a punch. Then the older girl added something even more shocking. Her voice shook, but she forced the words out with all her strength. "You can own me if you want," she said. "I will serve you. I will do anything. Just feed her. Please." Reed blinked in disbelief. He stepped closer, trying to understand. "Own you? No, I don't want that," he said. "I just want to help." But the girl kept begging. She grabbed his boots and lowered her head. "Please don't leave us," she cried. "Please save her. I will be your slave. Just don't let her die." The smaller girl in her arms did not move. Her breaths were slow and weak. Reed knelt down and checked her pulse. It was faint, but she was alive. Barely. Reed opened his emergency food pack. The older girl gasped when she saw it. Her hands reached forward, but stopped in the air, as if she feared he would punish her for touching it. Reed placed the food softly in her hands. "Here," he said. "Feed her slowly." Tears ran down her face. Her lips trembled. Thank you," she whispered. While she fed the younger girl tiny pieces, Reed scanned the building. Something felt wrong. Too quiet. Too empty. There should have been more survivors. A whole village could not vanish like this. What happened here? Reed asked gently. The girl swallowed hard. Her voice shook. "The harvesters," she said. "They came from the sky." They took everyone. Everyone except us, Reed frowned. Harvesters? Machines? She nodded slowly. They take living beings. They collect them. Her voice broke again. She could not finish the sentence. Before Reed could ask more, his helmet scanner beeped. Something moved outside. Something fast. Something heavy. Reed tightened his jaw. We need to leave. Now, he whispered. The girl looked up, fear filling her eyes. Are they coming back? Reed didn't want to scare her more, but he didn't lie. Maybe, he said. We have to move quickly. He picked up the small child while the older girl tried to stand. Reed offered his arm to help her. She hesitated, then slowly held his hand. Her skin was ice cold. As they stepped out of the building, a metal echo rang through the ruins. A sharp, mechanical sound, like metal claws scraping stone. Far away, but getting closer, the girl squeezed Reed's arm. They found us, she said, voice trembling. Reed looked toward the dark alley where the sound came from. His heart pounded, and he shifted the smaller girl in his arms. Stay behind me, he said, no matter what happens. Another metal scream echoed across the dead city. They were not alone. The sound of metal claws echoed again. Louder this time, sharper. Captain Reed felt the vibration through the broken ground. He moved quickly, guiding the older alien girl beside him while carrying the younger one in his arms. The air felt heavier now, almost warning them to hurry. The older girl kept looking over her shoulder. Her legs were weak, but fear pushed her forward. It is the harvesters, she whispered, voice shaking. They always return to check for life. They never stop. Reed didn't answer. He needed to focus. He led them through a narrow alley, stepping over broken wires and shattered glass. His ship wasn't far. They only needed to reach the open field on the other side of the ruins, but then he heard it again. A sharp metallic clicking. Slow, steady, as if something was tracking them by sound. The girl gripped Reed's sleeve. Please hurry, she begged. They can smell energy. They can smell. Use? Reed felt her fear like cold wind against his skin. We'll make it, he said in a calm voice, even though he wasn't sure himself. They reached a large fallen tower lying across the road. Reed helped the girl climb over it. She slipped once, but Reed grabbed her arm before she fell. Her eyes widened, surprised he didn't let her hit the ground. She whispered, "Thank you. No human ever touched me with kindness before." Reed just nodded. He didn't have time for small talk. The metal sound behind them grew louder, faster. The harvesters were hunting now. He carried the younger sister higher on his chest and quickened his pace. They finally reached the broken edge of the city, where Reed's small shuttle waited. It was hidden behind a pile of stone and twisted metal. Reed activated his remote key. The shuttle's lights blinked weakly. "Get in," he said. The older girl climbed inside, pulling her sister from Reed's arms. Reed jumped into the pilot's seat and shut the door. He pressed the engine start, but the shuttle made a heavy grinding noise. Damaged. Not good. Come on. Reed muttered, trying again. The lights flickered. The engine finally started, but it sounded unstable. The girl whispered, "Is it safe?" Reed didn't look back. "Safe enough," he said. "Hold your sister tight." He lifted the shuttle off the ground. Dust swirled around them as they rose into the air. For a moment, Reed thought they were safe. Then something slammed onto the side of the shuttle. The entire ship shook. The older girl screamed and held her sister close. Reed steadied the controls. Through the window, he saw a metallic shape crawling across the hull. Thin, spider-like legs. Sharp claws. Red glowing eyes. A harvester drone. Reed cursed under his breath. He tilted the shuttle sharply to the left. The drone slipped for a second, but held on. It dragged its claws across the window, sparks flying. The older girl cried, "They found us! They found us!" Reed shouted, "Hold on," then slammed the shuttle into full speed. The drone was strong. It crawled closer to the cockpit. Its red eyes locked onto Reed. Its metal body opened like a flower of blades. It was preparing to strike. Reed slapped a button on the side panel. Small defense turrets on the shuttle activated and fired short bursts. The bullets hit the drone, but it held on stubbornly. It lifted one blade-like arm and struck the glass. Cracks spread across the window like lightning lines. The older girl covered her sister's head. "It will break inside," she cried. Reed gritted his teeth. "Not if I do this," he said, then pulled the shuttle into a sudden drop. The shuttle fell fast, like a metal rock. The drone, unprepared, slipped off the hull and tumbled into the ruins below. Crashing through a collapsed roof, Reed lifted the shuttle back up into the sky. He checked the scanner. "All right," he said, breathing hard. "We're not safe yet, but we have distance now." The older girl looked at him with wide eyes. "You saved us again," she whispered. "Why?" "You don't even know us." Reed didn't answer for a moment. He looked forward through the cracked window and spoke softly. "Because you needed help." The girl lowered her eyes. "We are nothing," she whispered. "My people lost our freedom long ago. The harvesters take whoever they want." Reed clenched his jaw. "Not anymore," he said, but before they could relax, the control panel beeped sharply. Red lights flashed. The scanner showed several objects rising from the planet behind them. Fast. Too fast. Reed stared at the screen. "No, you've got to be kidding," he said. The older girl leaned forward, voice trembling. "What is it?" Reed pointed to the glowing dots on the radar. "More harvesters. They're following us." The girl grabbed the seat. Her voice broke again. "They never stop. They will chase us forever." Reed tightened his grip on the controls. "Let them try," he said, "but they won't touch you again." He pushed the shuttle's engines to maximum. The ship shook. Sparks flew from the old wires, and the damaged engines screamed under pressure. The horizon opened before them as they ascended into the dark sky. The harvesters rose behind them like mechanical shadows. Glowing red in the night, the chase had begun. The shuttle shot upward through the dark sky, shaking like it might fall apart at any second. The engines burned hot, leaving a bright trail behind them. Captain Reed held the controls tight, trying to keep the ship steady as warning lights flashed across the panel. Behind him, the older alien girl held her little sister close. The younger one's breathing was slow, but steady now, thanks to the food Reed gave her. The older girl looked out of the cracked window and saw the red glowing dots following them from below. The harvesters. Cold and tireless, Reed checked the radar again. "They're still coming," he said, voice calm but focused. The girl swallowed hard. "They always come," she whispered. "They do not rest. They do not feel. They only take." Reed glanced back at her. "Not today," he said. "Hold tight. We're almost to my ship." The shuttle sped through the upper atmosphere. The sky turned from black to deep blue. Flames flickered across the sides as they pushed through the planet's edge. The shuttle began to shake harder, and a loud alarm beeped inside the cockpit. The girl looked frightened. "Is this normal?" Reed shook his head. "No, the engine took too much damage earlier." A sudden explosion rocked the left side of the shuttle. The older girl screamed, pulling her sister down behind a seat. Reed fought the controls as the shuttle spun slightly before stabilizing. The radar beeped again. One harvester drone had reached them, or maybe it had followed the flame trail. Reed cursed under his breath and activated the back camera. The screen showed the drone flying fast, its metal wings glowing red from heat. It didn't care about fire. It didn't care about the atmosphere. It only cared about its mission. Reed pressed a switch. "Let's see if this still works," he said. Two small defense turrets popped out from the back of the shuttle and began firing bursts of energy. The drone dodged the first shots and moved closer. Its claws spread open. Its glowing red eye focused on the shuttle, like a hunter choosing its prey. Reed turned sharply to the right. The drone matched his move perfectly. "Persistent machine," Reed grumbled. "Fine. Try this." He suddenly cut the engines for 1 second. Just one, but it was enough. The shuttle dropped sharply, losing speed so fast that the drone shot past them. Confused, Reed reignited the engines, and the turrets fired again, this time hitting the drone directly. The machine's eye flickered, and its wings snapped. It fell, fire trailing behind it, as gravity dragged it down toward the dead planet below. The older girl peeked over the seat, shaking. Did you destroy it?" Reed nodded. "One of them," he said, "but more are coming. We need to reach my main ship now." As if answering his words, a bright shape appeared ahead. Reed pointed. "There, that's my ship, the Horizon." The Horizon floated in orbit, a large human vessel with white armor plating and blue lights running across its sides. It looked strong, powerful, safe. The older girl gasped softly. She had never seen a human starship before. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Reed smiled slightly. "Wait until you see the inside." He opened a channel. "Horizon, this is Reed. Docking now." "Prepare medical team," the ship answered back with a calm voice. "Welcome back, Captain." Docking bay opening. The shuttle approached the docking bay, shaking from the engine damage. Sparks flew again. Reed held the controls steady until the shuttle landed roughly on the metal floor. The doors slid open. Reed unbuckled quickly. "Come on," he said. "We're safe here." The older girl stepped out slowly, holding her sister tight. Her eyes darted around the large room, clean metal floors, bright white lights, peaceful silence. No ruins, no smoke, no harvesters. She felt like she was in another world. Reed turned to her. "You're safe now," he said gently, but the girl didn't believe him. She suddenly fell to her knees again and lowered her head, her voice breaking. "Captain Reed, I told you." "You can own me," she whispered. "Please don't throw us away now." Reed froze. The words struck him again, hard. "Hey, stop," he said, kneeling in front of her. "You're not a slave. You're not property. No one owns you." The girl looked up with confused, frightened eyes. "But that is the only thing I can offer," she said, voice soft. "You saved us. You fed my sister. My people always pay with service." Reed shook his head. "Not with humans," he said firmly. "Humans don't take slaves. We protect the weak." Tears formed in the girl's eyes. She looked at her sister's small face, then back at Reed. "Why are you helping us?" she whispered. Reed stood and extended his hand to her. "Because it's the right thing to do," he said, "and because you two deserve a chance to live." For the first time since he found her, the girl gave a small, soft smile. It was weak, tired, but real. "Thank you." "Captain Red," she whispered. "My name is Lyra, and this is my sister, Nimi." Reed nodded. "Good. Now let's get you both checked by the medics." But before they could take another step, alarms suddenly blared across the ship. Red lights flashed. A voice echoed through the hallway. "Captain Reed, unidentified signals detected. Multiple hostile units approaching the horizon." Lyra's face turned pale. She gripped Reed's sleeve tightly. "They followed us. Even here," she said with a trembling voice. Reed's expression hardened. "Not for long," he said. The harvesters had found them, and the real battle was about to begin. Alarms echoed through the long metal hallways of the horizon as red lights flashed across the walls. Captain Reed's face tightened. He moved fast, guiding Lyra and Nimi toward the safer side of the docking bay. The ship felt alive, now lights blinking, engines humming, crew rushing to battle stations. Lyra held her sister tight. Her hands shook with fear. "Captain." "They found us," she whispered. "They always find us." Reed placed a steady hand on her shoulder. "Not this time," he said, but inside, he knew things were about to get worse. A crew member ran toward them. "Captain." Scanners picked up 6 harvester ships approaching from the planet. Reed frowned. 6? That's too many for a simple drone chase. The crewman nodded fast. "And Captain?" "They're bigger. Not scouts. These are assault harvesters," Lyra gasped. She pressed her back against the wall, almost dropping her sister. No. Those are the ones that take whole villages," she whispered shakily. "They came for us before. Now they come again." Reed looked at her. "Why? Why do they want your people so badly? What are they harvesting?" Lyra hugged Mimi closer, her voice breaking. "Energy," she said softly. "A special kind. Inside our bodies. We live with it. It is part of us." Reed's brows lowered. "Energy?" Lyra nodded. "The harvesters use it for power. For fuel. They do not grow it. They do not make it. They just take it." Her eyes filled with tears. "My people are batteries to them." Reed felt anger burn inside him. A cold, sharp anger he rarely allowed himself to feel. He straightened, jaw tight. "Not on my ship," he said. Before he could say more, a loud metallic crash shook the horizon. The floor vibrated. Lyra cried out and grabbed Reed's arm. The ship's voice echoed through the speakers. "Warning! Harvester ships have fired on the hull." Another crash. Another vibration. The lights flickered. Reed looked at Lyra. "You two need to get to the safe room," he said, but Lyra shook her head. "They want us. If they come inside, they will take us first." Reed placed his hands on her shoulders. "Not while I'm here," he said. "The horizon has one of the best shields in this sector." As if mocking his words, the ship shook again, this time harder. The lights dimmed briefly. Reed led them quickly through the hallway toward the medical center. Crew members rushed past carrying weapons and equipment. The ship was preparing for war. Lyra looked at everything with wide, frightened eyes. This world, this metal world full of fire and light, was nothing like her quiet village. She felt small, lost, scared, but Reed stayed close, walking beside her like a shield. They reached the med bay door, but the ship shook again before they could enter. Reed grabbed the wall to steady himself. Lyra almost fell, but Reed caught her arm. "Stay close," he said. Suddenly, Reed's wrist device beeped sharply. The ship's AI spoke. "Captain Reed, harvester units are attempting to breach the starboard hull. Estimated time until breach, 3 minutes." Lyra's breath hitched. 3 minutes? "They're coming in?" Reed nodded slowly. "They're trying," he said, "but we won't let them." He guided Lyra into the med bay and set Nimi gently on one of the beds. The med droids immediately scanned her and began treatment. Lyra stepped close to Reed again. She looked small and fragile, but there was a spark in her eyes, now fear mixed with determination. "Captain," she whispered, "if the harvesters enter this ship, they will kill everyone. They don't care about life. They only want what is inside us." Reed placed his hand on her shoulder. "They won't reach you," he said again, but his mind raced. 6 ships. 1 damaged human vessel. This was going to be close. A loud metallic tearing sound came from deep inside the horizon. It echoed through the walls like metal screaming. Lyra covered her ears. Reed lifted his wrist device again. "Status." He called. The AI replied, "Harvester units have attached to the hull. Beginning cutting sequence." hull integrity dropping. Reed swore under his breath. They're trying to cut their way in. Lyra grabbed his sleeve. Captain Reed, please don't leave us. Reed looked at her, then at Nimi lying weakly on the bed. For a moment, time seemed to slow. He saw two innocent children who had already lost their home. Their family, their world. He made a choice in that second. I'm not going anywhere, he said. I'm going to stop them before they get inside. Lyra shook her head. You'll die. Reed gave a small smile. Humans don't give up that easily. He reached the door, ready to join the battle. But before he stepped out, he turned back to Lyra and said, Stay here. Protect your sister. I'll be back. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. Captain Reed. He lifted his hand to stop her words. I promise, he said, then ran toward the danger. The hallway shook again. The lights flickered. The ship roared as its weapons fired back at the enemy ships outside and somewhere deep inside the hull. A glowing red line spread across a metal wall. The harvesters were cutting their way in. The real fight was seconds away. Captain Reed ran through the shaking hallway as alarms screamed across the horizon. Red lights flashed above him. The whole ship trembled like a living creature under attack. The harvesters were seconds away from breaking inside. He reached the main defense deck, where his crew was already preparing weapons. Soldiers loaded rifles. Engineers rushed between panels. Sparks fell from the ceiling as another blast hit the hull. Reed didn't slow down. He stepped onto the command platform and shouted, Status. A soldier answered, Captain. The harvesters have locked onto us from all sides. They're trying to board through 3 different points. Another soldier yelled, Shields dropping fast. We can't take much more of this. Reed's jaw tightened. Then we end this now, he said. He activated the ship-wide speakers. His voice echoed through the horizon like thunder. All crew, this is Captain Reed. The harvesters want to break in and take innocent lives. We will not allow it. Stand your ground. Protect this ship. The crew answered with one strong voice. Yes, Captain. Reed opened the main viewport. Outside, he saw 6 harvester ships circling like metal vultures. Their red lights glowed like demon eyes in the dark void. Long robotic arms reached toward the horizon, trying to latch on. Sparks exploded where their claws touched the hull. These machines had destroyed villages, stolen whole families, drained life for fuel. Reed tightened his fists. Not today. Not while he breathed. He pointed at the tactical screen. Charge the plasma cannon, he ordered. The officer hesitated. Captain, that's our strongest weapon. It could overload the ship. Reed's eyes were cold with determination. Do it, the officer obeyed. The room filled with the sound of rising power. Deep, heavy, dangerous energy humming through the ship. Meanwhile, in the med bay, Lyra held Nimi's hand as the room shook again. She whispered, Please be safe, Captain Reed. Please win. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She wasn't crying only from fear, but because for the first time, she believed someone cared for them. Back on the command deck, the ship shuddered violently. A soldier shouted, Captain, 1 harvester unit is almost through the hull. Reed raised his hand. Hold steady. 40% until breach. 30%. 20. Reed slammed his hand down. Fire. The plasma cannon shot a massive beam of blue and white light across space. It hit the nearest harvester ship directly. The metal monster twisted, cracked, and exploded into thousands of burning pieces. The shockwave pushed the horizon backward. The crew cheered, but Reed wasn't done. Target the second ship. Locked on, Captain. Fire again. Another blast. Another harvester destroyed. Flames lit the darkness. Reed felt the deck tremble under his feet. The cannon was powerful, maybe too powerful. Inside the horizon, lights flickered and panels sparked. The ship was struggling to hold together. A trembling voice came over the radio. "Captain, engineering says the cannon is overheating. One more shot could break the ship." Reed looked at the screen. 4 harvester ships still remained. They were closing in fast, glowing red, ready to slice through the hull like knives. He breathed out slowly. Then he said the words no captain usually dares. "Prepare final shot." The crew stared at him. One soldier said, "Captain, if we fire again, the ship may collapse." Reed nodded. "If we don't fire, everyone dies anyway." Everyone understood. "Charge it," Reed ordered quietly. The engines groaned under the load. The lights dimmed. The horizon shook like a wild storm was tearing it apart. Power surged through the ship, dangerous and unstable. Lyra looked up from the med bay as the floor vibrated. She felt that the ship was fighting with everything it had. She held Nimi closer and whispered, "Humans are strong, stronger than machines." Back on the command deck, Reed stared at the charging system. Sweat dripped down his forehead. But his voice stayed steady. "Target all ships." "All of them, Captain?" "Yes, all." The plasma cannon reached full charge. The energy was so intense that the room shook violently. Metal panels rattled. Sparks shot from wires. "Captain, cannon is overheating. Fire now." Reed shouted. A giant beam erupted from the horizon, huge, bright, burning white like a star. It shot across the battlefield and hit all 4 remaining harvester ships at once. The machines twisted, cracked, broke apart, and exploded into bright fire. Silence followed. The horizon floated in space, surrounded by debris and burning remains. The ship was damaged, bruised, tired but alive. On the command deck, the crew let out slow breaths of relief. One soldier whispered, "We did it." Reed looked at him and shook his head. "No," he said, "humans did it." He turned toward the hallway and headed for the med bay. His steps were heavy, but his heart felt lighter than it had in years. When he entered the med bay, Lyra stood up fast. Tears filled her eyes. She ran to him, trembling. "You came back." "You really came back," she whispered. Reed smiled softly. "I promised I would." Lyra looked at him with deep emotion. "I offered to be your slave." "But you treated me like a person," she said, voice shaking. "No one has ever protected us before." Reed placed a hand on her head gently. "That's because humans don't take slaves," he said. "We protect family. And now, you two are under my protection." Lyra cried quietly into his chest, holding Nimi close with her other arm. The horizon broken, but Victorious drifted through the stars, carrying 3 lives who would never forget this day. A day where humanity stood up against machines. A day where compassion became stronger than fear. A day where the HFY moment shined brightest in the dark.